Breaking news. The Federal Reserve just announced a 75 basis point hike. All that means is that they are trying to make the cost of capital more expensive, simultaneous to them continuing to increase interest rates. They're also conducting quantitative tightening. They're offloading assets off their balance sheet. Why are they doing this? They're doing it because we have 8.6% inflation, a 40-year high in the United States. If the central bank doesn't step in, they feel like inflation will only continue to persist and accelerate higher. Now, whether you think they're right or they're wrong, it's pretty clear that the Federal Reserve, they want to reestablish their credibility. They want people to think that they're in control. And if they see high inflation, they believe that they can go ahead and manipulate interest rates and conduct quantitative tightening in order to get that inflation come down. Now, of course, as they're doing this and they're focused on inflation, they're crashing asset prices at the same time. We've seen things like Bitcoin and the crypto market sell off 70 to 90%. Stocks are down materially. So are bonds, real estate, many other asset classes. Quite literally, the Federal Reserve is crashing asset markets in an attempt to tame inflation. Now, what becomes really fascinating about this is that even as they're increasing interest rates, they don't have that much of a runway. Ultimately, if they continue to increase interest rates, they're going to push the United States into a recession. Given that we're in a midterm election year, the worst thing that they could have is go into an election season in a recession. The second worst thing is high inflation. And right now, it looks like we're going to keep having persistently high inflation. The Federal Reserve thinks it'll be 5% still by the end of the year. And also, they may push us into a recession. Hello, stagflation. Now, of course, I don't know what's going to happen in the future, but what I do think is that the market is drastically overestimating how confident and persistent the Fed's going to be in these interest rate hikes and in quantitative tightening. I think that at some point, before the market realizes it, the Federal Reserve is going to give up. They're going to wave that white flag. They simply cannot continue to increase the price of capital, and they cannot continue to conduct quantitative tightening forever. They also can't do it for the next 2 to 3 years, as they continue to say. The Federal Reserve can only continue to increase interest rates so much. If they continue on this path and they don't let up, there's a lot of people that are going to walk into that voting booth in November and they're going to vote out every single person that appointed these officials. Ultimately, what we are watching right now is that the Federal Reserve, they're in control. Every asset correlation is going towards one. It all has become one big trade. But at the end of the day, the Federal Reserve, they're going to have to cut rates. They're going to have to return to loose monetary policy. The big question in financial markets right now is when are they going to do it? 75 basis points. That's a big boy rate hike today. But I don't think this is going to become the norm. I actually think they're going to give up way before most other people think so.